Hello everybody! So as you may see in the title, this is going to be a rework for one of my favorite towers, also known as the Spawn. And for those who don't know, the Spawn spawns battlers right into the field. And looking at its state, I think it's just kind of plain right now. So for the purpose of the video, I am going to make some changes for the Spawn, such as adding another battler, proposing a new attack to the Sword Master, and adding upgrades to certain battlers throughout different levels. And without further ado, let's get right to the video. Oh, and before we get started, I would like to say that these things are not official and are not coming to the game unless I get permission to do so. Anyways, right to the video we go. So, as for level 1 and level 2, those aren't gonna get any changes since I think those levels are fine for the game for now. But as for level 3, 4, and 5, that is when I'm gonna go into detail about the battler upgrades, which we're going into detail without further ado. Now level 3 is where the battler finally gets his upgrade, now having the ability to finally punch enemies. He can do a DPS of 25 with a damage of 5 and a fire rate of 0.2, and everything else is still the same. On to level 4, where the bomber and the sword battler get their upgrades. Now the sword battler does more damage, while the bomber can finally throw some bombs of his own. Now, onto the sword battler does a DPS of 65, doing 32.5 damage and having a fire rate of 0.5. While the bomber in hand, it has a DPS of 30, having a damage of 60 and a fire rate of 2. And the explosion that happens upon bomber dying does 200 damage. And I also forgot to mention that the upgraded battlers get 2 times the amount of their health. As for the rest of level 4, there is no changes, and now it's time to go to level 5, and the moment you have been waiting for. And now for level 5, which I added some changes to, such as a new battler, Sword Master prevailing a new attack, and Rocketeer and Slingshot battler getting an upgrade. Now I'm not gonna go into all of these details at once. I'm only gonna go one at a time, starting with the upgrades. Now the upgrades for the Slingshot and Rocketeer battlers are just them getting more damage. For the Slingshot, it now does 60 DPS with a damage of 30 and a fire rate of 0.5. And the Rocketeer can now do a DPS of 40 with a damage of 200 and a fire rate of 4. It also has a splash damage of 100. And now to the new battler. I am now going to talk about the new battler, the Hyper Laser battler. It does a DPS of 100 with a damage of 300 and a fire rate of 3. And it has a health of 300 and a spawn rate of 40 seconds. And now for the moment you've been waiting for, the Sword Master attack. Now I gave some changes to the Swordmaster, with one of his attacks now requiring a wind up but has more damage, and revealing a new attack that I gave him in order to have notification, by the way. Now, his slam attack can do 750 damage, which is way more damage at the cost of it having a wind up now. And as for his new attack, when he gets close to the enemies, he now does a lot of damage to them, being able to do 1,000 damage per slash. It has a DPS of 500 and a fire rate of 2, which are the changes that I gave to the Sword Master. Now, as for the final part of this video, in order to let the Spawn not be too OP with these rebalances that I gave it, the nerfs that I gave it is that the Swordmaster now had half of his health gone, and the Spawn causes way more to place down, and the level 4 and level 5 are now more expensive to buy, which are the nerfs that I gave the Spawn so that it could be a little more balanced and not overbroken. Anyways, that's all I have to say for this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it, this little concept I made just for fun. Now, if you think there is some things that I think should be fixed or balanced, please let me know in the comments below. But until then, see you in the next video. Until next time.